Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about Bhagavad Gita Chapter 2 verse 5 and 6. For more chapters and verse like this, subscribe our channel. It could be argued that Arjuna needed to fight and win the kingdom to maintain his livelihood. But Arjuna refutes that line of thought here. He says that he would prefer to live by begging than commit this heinous crime. He further believes that if he does indulge in this heinous act of fighting the war and kills his elders and relatives, his conscience will not allow him to enjoy any of the fruits of his action in this world, such as riches and power. Shakespeare's play Macbeth carries a telling example of a person not being able to enjoy even the natural state of sleep due to guilty conscience, let alone enjoy any wealth and power that comes along by immoral conduct. Macbeth was a nobleman of Scotland. Once while traveling, the King of Scotland came to rest the night at his house. Macbeth's wife incited him to murder the king and usurp his throne. Macbeth got swayed by her advice and assassinated the king, and thereafter he and Lady Macbeth were crowned as the King and Queen of Scotland. However, for years after that, Macbeth would be found walking in his palace, fully awake at night. The author writes, "Macbeth hath killed sleep, and so Macbeth shall sleep no more." The queen would be found repeatedly washing her hands as if to remove imaginary bloodstains. In this verse, Arjuna commiserates that, if he did kill these noble elders, tainted with their blood, his conscience would not let him enjoy all the royal benefits of ruling the kingdom. Verse 6. When evaluating the most suitable course of action, one considers various alternatives and their consequences. Arjuna was debating whether it would be desirable to defeat the Kauravas or to be defeated by them. Both alternatives seemed like defeat, for if he did win the war by slaying the Kauravas, he would have no further desire to live. However, the fact was that Bhishma, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, etc., had acted ignobly by taking the side of the unrighteous Kauravas. The word arthakam has been used for them, implying attached to wealth and position. They had taken the side of the wicked Duryodhan. So killing them in the war was a natural consequence. In fact, after the war, Bhishma himself admitted that a teacher who acts ignobly is fit to be abandoned. Here, special mention needs to be made of Bhishma. According to the Srimad Bhagavatam, verse September 22, 19, he was a great devotee of Sri Krishna. He was a master of his senses and an icon of chivalry and generosity. He was a knower of the absolute truth and had vowed to always speak the truth in his life. Even death could only come to him when he chose to accept it. For various reasons, he is enumerated amongst the 12 great personalities, or Mahajans, mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Swayambur Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Pralado Janako Bhishmo Balir, Vyasakir Vayam, June 3, 20, VD1. These are the 12 great knowers of religious principles. The firstborn Brahma, sage Narad, Lord Shiv, the 4 Kumars, Bhagavan Kapil, son of Devahuti, Swayambhuva Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Shukadev Muni, and Ved Vyas. Hence, Bhishma was an enlightened soul, whose actions could never be against the principles of Dharma. However, his profound character was beyond mundane reasoning. Even though he fought on the side of the Kauravas, he said to Yudhishthir, the eldest of the Pandava brothers, before the war, "I am obliged to combat on the side of unrighteousness, but I give you the boon that you will be victorious." Bhishma knew that the righteous Pandavas, who had the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna on their side, could never lose. By taking the side of adharma, unrighteousness, he showed that even the biggest forces on heaven and earth could not make unholiness win in this holy war. He thus offered the biggest sacrifice of laying down his life to assist the divine pastimes of Lord Krishna. Sri Krishna was well aware of Bhishma's deep devotion toward him, despite his fighting from the side of the Kauravas. That is why he upheld Bhishma's vow by breaking his own. Bhishma resolved on a particular day during the war that before sunset on the next day, he would either kill Arjuna, the foremost Pandava warrior, or else to save him, Sri Krishna would have to break his own vow of not lifting weapons in the battle of Mahabharat. Poets describe the vow that Bhishma made. Ajujo harihin na shastra gahaun, taulajahun ganga janani ko shantanu suta na kahaun. If I do not make the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna lift weapons, then I will shame my mother Ganga, and I am not the son of King Shantanu." Bhishma fought so valiantly that Arjun's chariot was shattered, and he was stranded on the ground. At that stage, Sri Krishna lifted the chariot wheel and came forward to prevent Bhishma from killing Arjun. Bhishma saw the Lord with the chariot wheel in his hand as a weapon, and broke into a big smile. He understood that Bhaktavatsala Bhagavan, God who gives pleasure to his devotees, had broken his own vow to honor the vow of his devotee. In fact, Bhishma's devotion to Lord Krishna had a very rasic, full of sweetness flavor to it. He used to meditate on Sri Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. There, in the evening when the Lord would return to the village after grazing the cows in the forest, the dust raised from the hooves of the cows would deck his charming face, increasing its beauty and sweetness. During the battle of Mahabharat, the dust raised from the hooves of the horses too added to Sri Krishna's beauty, and he loved having darshan, divine vision of his Lord there. In the last stage of his life, as he lay for 6 months on the bed of arrows, he meditated on that very vision of God, offering the following prayer to him. Bhagavatam, January 9th, 34. Yudi Turaga Rajo Vidhumra Vishvak Kachalul Ita Shramavaри Alankritasya Mama Nishita Sharair Vibhidyamana Tvachi Vilasat Kavachestu Krishna Atma. On the battlefield, Lord Krishna's flowing hair was covered with white dust raised by the hooves of the horses, and his face was covered with sweat beads because of his physical effort in driving the chariot. These were like ornaments enhancing the beauty of my Lord, and the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows further intensified the decorations. Let my mind meditate unto that Sri Krishna. Lord Krishna reciprocated his loving devotion by himself, coming to meet Bhishma on his deathbed of arrows, and with the darshan of God in front of him, Bhishma, the great Mahajan, left his body of his own volition.